I'm going to bring this up to you because a lot of the listeners have asked, and also you retweeted it. Vince Russo had an interesting tweet this week, and actually I have bumped into another one here while looking for this one. I'll read it.
Well, wait a minute. Before you do, let me say, you said I retweeted it. I did not retweet it as in, I endorse this particular statement from this fine, upstanding individual. Somebody had sent a screenshot of one of Stain's tweets where he said something that he always says something that's ridiculous and those I don't even pay any attention to. But this was so ironically ridiculous that I felt the need to amplify it somewhat, not only because of to quote Jackie Fargo, the insufferable gall of you, but also the fact that this is an alleged writer, a person who claims to be a professional writer, someone who is paid to write, who writes for a living. And this is what he wrote. And so on both of those fronts, that's why I felt this needed commenting on. And I basically retweeted it with the hashtag, "This shit writes itself."
Well, here is a tweet from Vince Russo, 3:49 p.m. on the 8th of December, 2023 from Earth. I'm adding a new rule. If you are or were ever one of my peers, capital P, I-E-R-S, in the wrestling business, which means you actually worked in caps, the wrestling business.
The wrestling.
Don't call me to do your podcast if you also allow dirt sheet writers who are basically gossip mongers to come on your show as well. Zero heat whatsoever. But I strongly feel that allowing these leeches, L-E-A-C-H-E-S, these leeches inside the door has severely hurt our business, and I'm not going to promote or be a part of that. Again, no hard feelings, just the way I feel.
Where do we start? First of all, the part that is so ironic is that I agree with his statement. He just doesn't realize what he's saying. I'm wholly in agreement that the leeches should have never been let into our dressing room and into our business. But unfortunately, we have a different meaning, he and I, unless he's referring to himself, because that's who I'm talking about. A leech that should have never been allowed inside our business. The fact that he even mouths the words "our business" about professional wrestling makes me want to vomit. Secondly, overlooking all of that, a lot of the fans said, well, I don't know what Pierce Morgan has to do with this, but apparently Pierce Morgan is the only one that Russo will speak to about it. Or they wondered if it was just that he has a sailing background and spent a lot of time on the pier, although I think that's probably maybe that's where he met his wife. I don't know, down on the pier.
Come on.
I'm sure she was doing charity work for the mission, healing the sick and feeding the hungry.
The fact that he capitalized peers and then misspelled it makes it even funnier.
Both capitalized wrongly and misspelled. And then the leeches. The leeches that are spelled much like Cary Grant's real given Christian last name.
Oh, wow.
Of Archibald Leach. Thank you very much. And not the way that the actual blood-sucking parasites are spelled. So he can't spell, he can't write, he can't think, and he thinks that he can refer to the wrestling business as our business before the leeches came into it. Said Mr. fucking Bloodsucker to Mr. Leach. That's an example of his penmanship before it goes through any secretaries or typists or correctifiers of any kind, or editors, or therapists, or whoever he passes his effluvia by these days.
Well, it's interesting. Before, in that tweet, He referred to it as our business, which, as you said, made you sick. Here's a tweet from this morning as we are recording.
God.
December 13th, 7:53 a.m. Started early. This is going to be a long one.
Oh, boy.
January will be 12 years that I walked away from the wrestling business on my own terms and went into the Vince Russo business.
He's stealing my shit.
12 years.
Wait a minute, that's my material. Did I say that 10 years ago? I said, fuck the wrestling business. I'm in the Jim Cornette business.
We talked about it longer than 12 years ago, so yes, it certainly is.
Christ.
But still to this day, every morning I wake up and somebody else is taking a shot at me. Today, I woke up to find that a person I literally took a bullet for. Hold on, stop.
Wait a minute.
That's not how literally works.
God damn it, who has been hiding from me all this time? This man deserves a bounty. Somebody put a fucking bullet in Vince Russo. I'll give you a check. I'll give you cash in a fucking shoebox. Tell me who you are. When did Vince Russo get shot? And how did they cover this up?
Well, I'll go back.
He literally took a bullet for that. That means he was shot from a gun for this man. He literally got me. We were doing a crack deal. It was Jake. It was Jake all along. Who did he get shot for?
Today, I woke up to find that a person I literally took a bullet for accused me of being hypocritical, stating that I still, in quotes, make money off of the wrestling business. Really? How is that? I'm certainly not employed by the wrestling business.
He may have a fucking point. I'm interested to see how anybody can illustrate that he's making money off of any business at this point.
Really? How is that? I'm certainly not employed by the wrestling business. The wrestling business doesn't send me a check every week. I'm not on any wrestling company's payroll. Please.
I've tried. I've begged. I regularly emailed Vince. I've made public pleas for them to talk to me. I created TNA.
Please, help me to understand. So, because I once made a living in the wrestling business, I am still making a living in the wrestling business because people, fans, subscribers want me to talk or still talk about my career and my thoughts on the current product. So talking about my life and my expertise is something I'm making money off. In something means I'm making money off of that certain thing. Looks to me like I'm earning a living off of, well, me. The logic in this business is incredible to me at times. If I was actually looking to still make money off the wrestling business, I guess I'm doing a horrible job. Because the way I would and should be doing it is by kissing everybody's ass who's still part of it, much like many, if not all, of my former colleagues do. So this was a missive sent out 7:53 this morning.
Well, but here's the thing, and he's right. He's not making money off the wrestling business. He's making money off the wrestling fans. And truthfully, I'm not making money off the wrestling business. I'm making money off the wrestling fans. The only problem is I got more of them, and I give them something for their money. And old Shitstain has fewer of them and gives them nothing but, wah, wah, woe is me. The wrestling business killed me and hurt my feelings and blah, blah, blah. And I always want to get back except when they won't take me back. And then I say I don't want to go back. I skipped all the middleman and told everybody flat out, I don't want to go back, and I ain't. But how's your action figure business going, Vinny Roo? Selling a lot of those? How are all these books that you've written selling? I'd be glad to put my book sales numbers up against for a variety of my books. I think you did too. Woe is me, stories of your life and miserable career. But just insufferable. This is what you had to say. And now people are starting to see it. You say something long enough, and people won't believe it because they don't want to believe the source, but then the evidence finally comes out in front of their eyes. This is what you have to deal with when you sit around, listen to, talk to, or associate with this goddamn insufferable douchebag. He's a whiny fucking bitch.
And it seems like he's always constantly begging to get back in. You know, he wants to help Tony. He was contacting the network, but then he says he wants nothing to do with it, and he walked out on his own terms, which I guess is easier than just admitting you're constantly begging for a job.
Well, and that's another thing. Can you imagine what these people at the networks think? Because, again, when TNA was on Spike, and what was the guy's fucking name? God damn it.
Which guy?
The guy from Spike that would come, now I've told this story before, would come and listen to us in the production meeting. He was the Spike representative. And then he'd go play golf at a resort in Orlando and then come back and watch the show to make sure we didn't do anything to get him kicked off goddamn cable. But he was the Spike representative. And I would see him rolling his eyes when either Shitstain would try to explain some of his shit in the production meeting, or just the poor Mike Tenay would be reading the formats in that monotone voice he adopted so as not to be judgmental about this effluvia. And you knew they were going back and going, you this fucking guy writing a wrestling show, he can't even spell. He's a fucking blithering idiot. It was embarrassing. And you've got to know that Russo thought that he was important enough when he had these jobs with these companies for a short period of time that these networks would take his calls and read his emails and accept his input. And he's shocked and amazed when they tell him they don't want it either. He can't find anybody to help. You know why? Because he's no fucking help.
I think the most shocking is the fact that the guy that he was shot for turned his back on him, whoever that may be.
Wait a minute. That's right. Who the fuck?
We don't know. We don't know.
Who did he get shot for? What kind of neighborhood were they in? What kind of underhanded tactics were they involved in to attract that type of attention from that type of criminal element? And where did he get shot? Hopefully in the head where nothing would be damaged.
Well, it says he literally took a bullet, so we'll see what else we can find out about this literal story that I'm sure there's a police report for somewhere. But we'll see what we can find out.